Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, Kern High School District students spearhead anti-discrimination committee after reports of clashes on campus. How the teens will be involved with the district and how they handle these incidents going forward.
In the hot seat in Washington, today the U.S. ambassador to the EU, the man behind text messages that have raised a lot of questions as the impeachment inquiry into President Trump continues.
Weed wars may be heating up again in Kern County. Kern County supervisors consider a cannabis measure for the 2020 ballot that would go head-to-head with another proposal already on the ballot. We'll explain the differences. This is Tuesday, October 8th, 2019. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, and we've sent Kevin Charette out of the studio this morning.
Yeah, and he's got a partner with him this morning. Let's check in with him. He's not in our studios this morning. Him and Alyssa Carlson are high above the sky. How's it going?
Good morning. Yeah, we're teaming up. We're on top of the helipad here at Memorial Hospital. You don't see this very often.
I know.
Alyssa and I actually tag teaming weather, but we're also talking about a great cause for the American Heart Association. Talk a little bit about that and why we're up here.
We are at the helipad here at Memorial Hospital, downtown Bakersfield, and we this morning are raising money for our annual Heart and Stroke Walk over at CSUB Bakersfield. It's going to be held on October 19th. So we are this morning kicking off Team Alyssa versus Team Kevin. That's right, Maddie and Alex. I have taken them off your hands this morning, and instead we are going to duke it out here and play some games throughout the morning, have some challenges, have some fun with this, and of course raise awareness and money for heart disease and stroke.
And that's what this is really all about, bringing awareness to heart disease. I know this touches home personally with you, and so this is a platform that you have really put out there in the community about the importance of knowing about your heart.
It is, and we're going to learn more about that throughout the next 2 hours. I started this last year, and we started over at the Padre. This year we have moved it over here, as I mentioned, to Memorial Hospital, Dignity Health, a huge sponsor of the American Heart Association. So we will, of course, get a check of the weather and get this thing going, and we have a lot with more.
We have a lot to talk about this morning. So one of that is the weather, and it is a beautiful morning out here. It's not too cold. I actually had a jacket on, and I said, Alyssa, I got to take the jacket off. You're showing me up. You don't even have a jacket. Right now, we're in the 60s, and you can see 65 degrees in the Bakersfield area, and light wind just out of the east at 5. And as we take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for you today, we're going to be right near 70 at 9 a.m., and then raising you up right near 90 once again this afternoon into the evening. And then for Tehachapi, currently 48. It is a chilly start. Grab a jacket, a west wind at 5, and then hour by hour. Not too bad this afternoon. We're going to keep you in the 70s, but again, starting out on a cool note, so you'll definitely want to grab a jacket if you are going to be going out throughout the day. So we'll have much more on your forecast and more about why we're here on the helipad at Memorial Hospital, all coming your way in just a little bit. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, can't wait to see how this goes this morning. Good luck, both of you.
Very interesting. All right, let's take a look at your morning commute now at 5:03 and take you outside, show you how things are shaping up at the 99 at Airport Drive. And it's looking pretty clear on that side of town. Everything else around the county looking pretty good for the most part. There is one crash there's no injuries associated with this crash, but it is could be a little bit of an issue for you if you're going to be on the 119, the eastbound lanes near the I-5. So just be mindful of that. It's way out there. But it looks like it's blocking the roadway. Other than that, it's all looking pretty good to start off your Tuesday morning. We'll have another check coming up in about 15 minutes.
New this morning, if you see something, say something. That's the message from the Taft City School District to students, parents, and staff. This comes after recent incidents of physical aggression among students in the district, which have prompted concerns in the community. The district sent a letter to parents of students at Lincoln Junior High yesterday acknowledging the behavior. Court documents reveal back in April a 13-year-old boy threatened to, quote, shoot up the school, but police arrested him. The district says the school has followed up on every report, and law enforcement have also investigated incidents. Staff have also limited student access to the outdoor yard area until threats of acts of aggression are resolved. In the letter to parents, District Superintendent Julie Graves says, quote, the safety and well-being of students and our staff is the highest priority in the Taft City School District, and I'd like to take this opportunity to remind students of the serious consequences that come with any act of physical aggression, including threats of such behavior. The letter does not go into any detail about these purported incidents, though the district says some of them had to do with threats on social media. We reached out to the director for more information and are waiting to hear back.
This morning, Bakersfield's newest high school was supposed to have a name, but that's not the case because the current high school district decided to put off that vote. The board did approve something else, though. 17's Karen Wall was at that meeting last night and explained the decision.
Prosperity, Victory, Panama, Tacoma, David Nelson, Buck Owens, Thomas Baker, and Mary Kay Shell. These were the 8 names in consideration for the high school opening in Southeast Bakersfield in 2022. Most of these names were submitted by the public, but the trustees decided they would like to replace the 4 proper names with 4 names not of individuals. This is not to offend Nelson, Owens, Baker, or Shell, who arguably are of equal value. The trustees will ask for public submissions again and present a new list of 8 names to be voted on at their December 16th meeting. But what trustees did approve was a new student-led committee to eliminate discrimination in Kern high schools.
I've personally witnessed discrimination against students a part of the LGBTQ+ community.
It began with an alleged case of discrimination at Frontier High that sparked viral discussion. The school's Gay Straight Alliance meeting was allegedly met with students holding Make America Great Again flags and straight students holding hands yelling, "This is what's right."
We were really moved by that, so we wanted to create a district-wide committee in order to prevent those types of issues from ever happening again.
This committee led entirely by students.
It really makes my voice feel heard.
Its mission:
this board will be basically an anti-discrimination board that will relay all instances of discrimination that happen in our school district,
offering suggestions to the district on disciplinary action and planning sensitivity workshops.
This just shows that the Kern High School District is really trying to create a more safer environment for its students in order for them to learn.
This is absolutely a step in the right direction in addressing all of these issues of discrimination in our school district.
While details on this committee have yet to be ironed out, there's the possibility that 4 students will be chosen from each high school to be in the group. I'm Karen Hua, 17 News.
Hundreds of thousands of PG&E customers in Northern California and the Central Valley could be in the dark this week. The utility says it may cut power to more than 600,000 customers across 30 counties starting tomorrow because of hot weather and strong winds that are forecasted. PG&E says customers should be prepared to be without electricity for several days. Some of the most destructive wildfires in California in recent years were sparked by PG&E power lines. Today marks 2 years since the start of the deadly Wine Country wildfires. When the smoke cleared more than a week later, more than a dozen fires had sparked, reducing thousands of homes to smoldering ash and killing 44 people. And forecasters say Southern California will have several days of Santa Ana winds this week, and that could create critical fire weather conditions. The National Weather Service says Santa Anas will develop by early Thursday and continue through Saturday, bringing warming and very dry conditions back to the region.
The search is still on for three men police say are linked to a shootout in a southwest Bakersfield neighborhood. Bakersfield police say a gunfight broke out on Remington Avenue back in August after someone drove by and opened fire on a house party. Court documents say many gang members were at the party and they fired back at the car. No one was hit, but the shooting rattled neighbors. Since then, police have arrested 12 people, the latest on Saturday. 3 men are still wanted for questioning in connection with the case: Clarence Wandick, Maurice Spellman, and Venice Anthony. If you know where they are, call BPD at 327-7111.
A trial date is set for the Tehachapi mother claiming self-defense after shooting her ex-husband. Police say Wendy Howard shot and killed Kelly Pitts in June. Court documents reveal it happened after Howard told police that Pitts molested their teen daughter. During an argument, Howard claimed she felt threatened and shot him. Howard posted bail last month. She appeared before a judge again yesterday. That judge set her trial for late April.
And Kern County Weed Wars Part 2?
The initiative that supervisors are considering adding to the primary election ballot, and the one voters can already decide on. We'll explain coming up in about 20 minutes.
Welcome back. KUGT is teaming up with Adventist Health Bakersfield to highlight the many inspiring stories here in our community. It's part of a series we called Together Inspired. Sometimes people enter our lives at just the right time, and they make all the difference.
That was the case 18 years ago in Mrs. Kopp's first grade class at Rosedale North Elementary School. 17's Tabitha Mills joining us to take us back to that classroom nearly 2 decades ago.
That's right. Good morning, Maddie and Alex. 18 years ago in Mrs. Kopp's first grade class at Rosedale North Elementary School, one student, Mrs. Kopp, stepped in for one student when she needed it most.
Welcome to Mrs. Jeanette Kopp's first grade classroom. For 26 years, it's been a place of learning and love.
In first grade, they come to you as babies, many of them not knowing all of their alphabet or their numbers, and the growth that you see in that year is just tremendous. And so to send them on to second grade as real learners, that's pretty rewarding and exciting.
18 years ago, a little girl named Christmas walked into Mrs. Kopp's class.
She just was always welcoming since day one, and I felt that she was like another mother to me since day one because it was difficult growing up in the situation that I was in.
You see, Christmas was ripped from her family that year by Child Protective Services.
Mrs. Kopp at the time had found out that I was going to have to move schools, and she didn't want that to happen.
She was right. Mrs. Kopp didn't want that to happen.
It broke my heart to know that she was going to have to change schools. She'd been through a big trauma, the whole family had, and I knew that she was living in a place where she wouldn't be able to come to our school, and so I got permission from my principal to pick her and her brother up every morning and bring them to school and then to take them home at the end of the day.
But it was more than a ride to and from school.
Around 7:30ish, she'd come pick me up. I wasn't even dressed much. My hair wasn't brushed. She'd sit me down on the countertop over there and brush my hair every morning. And that changed my life.
To Christmas, Mrs. Kopp was the mother figure she needed when she didn't have one.
I'm more than thankful, and I want everybody to know that.
Now, nearly 2 decades later, Christmas is once again in Mrs. Kopp's class, this time as a parent to her own little girl, Brooke.
I wish a lot of the teachers out there understood that even the simplest little things that you do for the children does make a huge impact. And people like Mrs. Kopp, who help children like me, is huge. We need more people like that.
Mrs. Kopp says this is the first time she has had a child of a former student in her class, and it's very special that Christmas child is the very first.
It just goes to show those little things you think, a smile, something so simple, how can that really make a difference?
Making a connection. And in first grade, too, Mrs. Kopp talked about that. Most students don't remember their first grade experience, but look at the impact she's having on students, and they're remembering that.
Well, I have to say, I know Mrs. Kopp personally. She was not my first grade teacher. I was in another first grade class, but what the first grade teachers did, years ago at Rosedale North was we would all have musical lessons, if you will, and she would gather all the first graders and sing to us, and we would sing together. But that's just one example of the lives that she's impacted. You didn't even have to be in her class to be impacted by her. And she was my brother's first grade teacher, and she is an incredible woman. And she has impacted, we were talking about hundreds, if not thousands of lives here in Kern County. And I know that she's in a very good spot at Rosedale North. I know that she's going to continue teaching because that is what she's called to do, and she's going to continue to inspire lives.
Teachers in our community are amazing. They really, as Mrs. Kopp said, and we'll leave you with this, she said they're people who come to teach, they just have a calling for it. And she thinks what she did here isn't anything special. She thinks other teachers in our community do that every day, and they deserve a thank you as well. So if you go see a teacher today, maybe tell them thank you for what they do.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Tab. Great story.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back to your Business Watch. A company making pajamas sold at a popular wholesale retailer is in the hot seat. The Trump administration is blocking shipments from a Chinese company making baby PJs sold at Costco warehouses. That's because the manufacturer is accused of forcing ethnic minorities of locked in an internment camp to sew clothes against their will. Costco says it wasn't aware the PJs were allegedly being made with forced labor. More problems for Boeing. Southwest Airlines pilots are suing the maker of the 737 MAX jet for more than $100 million in lost pay. That's because the planes were grounded in the wake of the two deadly crashes. The Southwest Pilots Association filed a complaint saying Boeing, quote, deliberately misled pilots about the safety of the jets. A Boeing spokesperson says the company has, quote, the greatest respect for the men and women who fly for Southwest Airlines, but says Boeing plans to fight the lawsuit, which it calls meritless.